So the difference between somebody that is going to make it on their journey and somebody that isn't, one of the contributing factors that I think is going to help is making the journey personal. And on today's show, I'm going to talk about how you can go about making that journey personal to get to the place that you want to be. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Rise to Thrive show. I am your host, James Boardman, and if you are coming through, please do hit the love heart button, and I want you to comment in the comments below what your top 3 outcomes are for the week, whether it's professional or personal. And then please share this with someone that you may or may not know that needs this. Married man, aren't I? So first of all, thank you so much to everyone for all of their amazing messages, all of their lovely posts and comments and best wishes. I really appreciate, me and Jem massively appreciate all of those comments. So huge thank you to everyone. It was an incredible weekend. When we get all of the pictures back, I'm going to share them all. It was the best week. It could not have gone any perfect for us. We're absolutely over the moon. So thank you so much. Second thing is our 5-day Rise to Thrive challenge is open. We are going into the 5-day challenge next week. It's completely free for 5 days. It's going to work with men to build them up, get them out of that Groundhog Day, get them some direction, build up their elite mentality and their mental resilience. Okay, guys, so if you haven't done it or you have done it before and you want to come back in, the link's on this post somewhere. Okay, so listen, let's get into it. So I want you to think about an army of 10,000 men. And an army of 10,000 men that are about to go into battle, that don't necessarily know why they're going into battle, don't necessarily respect their leaders. And I want you to think how strong that army might be. How strong do you think an army of 10,000 men are that don't really understand what they're fighting for and don't really respect their leaders? Then I want you to look at the army that they're going to go up against. Now this army is only 5,000. But this army are protecting their motherland. They're protecting their home. They're protecting their wives. They're protecting their children. They're protecting everything that they stand for. So suddenly this battle becomes personal, right? Who do you think's most likely to win that battle? The 10,000 men that don't really know why they're there and don't really respect their leadership, or the 5,000 people that are ready to defend their homeland and their families? I would put my money on the 5,000, even though you're outnumbered. And that's because that the battle is personal. And that's very much how I've been reflecting on my own journey recently. That's how I've been reflecting on my journey so far. And if we put that into context of everyday life for us, we're either living a life like the 10,000 guys who are not really understanding what they're trying to achieve a better life for, not really having any clear direction, kind of like meh kind of life, do you know what I mean? Bit of a meh moment. So with that attitude and that mentality and that direction, we tend to have a weak mind. So what I mean by having a weak mind is that you are not mentally conditioned, fired up or driven to achieve the things you want to achieve in life. So you'll come under that category of a guy that is on it for 2 weeks, and then off it for 2 months. Or you start a process but become so mentally weak, there's no fire behind the journey, so you end up crumbling and going back to square one. And that's what causes quite a lot of frustration for a lot of men. And a lot of men will be like, well, you're an arsehole. But it's not that I'm that. It's just that I'm talking the truth. It's just what it is. Do you know what I mean? There's no getting away from it. There is weak mentality out in the world. And that's because we consume weak mentality. What we don't do is make the journey personal. We don't find the fire. we don't find the emotional connection, either through choice, either through distraction, either through laziness, bone idleness. Because when you become personal with your journey, when you really take everything that you do as a personal achievement or a personal win, or you have that emotional connection, or you have that fire behind you, like the army of 5,000 who were defending their homeland, man, suddenly you start showing up in a different way. Suddenly you don't start accepting weak mentality. Suddenly you don't start accepting average. Suddenly you don't start breaking or being ill-disciplined. Because you can achieve what you want to achieve, right? You can do anything that you want to do. Anyone that says to me, I can't do that, it's rubbish. Because you can. And the only thing that we have to shift is that mentality. Now, I often use this phrase quite a lot. A lot of people say to me, oh, I could never run 10k, or I could never run half a marathon, depending on the level of the individual. But if I chase you down the road with an axe or samurai sword and said, if I catch you or you stop running, I'm going to take a body part every time you stop, you'd keep running. You'd keep running. Do you know what I mean? If I come up to you and said, right, if you do not show up, if you start this journey but you decide to quit, I'm going to stop you seeing your family for 2 weeks, man, you'd show up. Because there is that emotional fire and connection. And something I often do in my mind is I go into that deep, dark place and I torture myself in those spaces. And one of the things that I really reflect on is that I'm two things, and I'm obsessive and I'm a perfectionist. And I've fallen into those categories because the alternative is just not worth showing up for. It's not even worth thinking about. So I've become obsessive about how I show up. I've become perfectionist about the things that I do to make sure everything's in place to win. I would have loved to have taken today off. I'm emotionally wrecked from the weekend. But then when you take one day off, it then leads to another day off. And then it leads to that cycle of, actually, you could break here. And I might not break, but that's the level that I show up at. That's the level I want to show up. That's the standard that I set myself. And it's almost that battle-ready mentality. There are no days off, ever. There's never a day off, and I don't intend to do it. And I've accepted that. That's me. That's who I am. I don't expect everyone to be the same as me. You know, I'm on a journey. I've been on a journey for 10 years. That's integrated into me. What I try and do is I try and nurture those people that follow me, those people that work with me with the same mentality. Yeah, and some fall off. Some fall off the horse, but it's then again like bringing them back up. Don't forget what you're showing up for. Don't forget what you're here for. Don't forget why you're doing this. And people do forget. People do slip out. People do disappear. And then you know what they do? They come back a year later, 6 months later. I completely fell off the bandwagon. I completely fell off the horse. That is not an option. It's not part of the category. For me, when you sign a contract with yourself and you make it personal, you don't back down from that. You go all in. So if you're on this journey and you're in this journey, you don't come out of it. It's not a seasonal thing where we go, oh, you know, I'm on it for a few days, that's great. This is like, dude, when you stop breathing, that is when the journey finishes. That is when the journey finishes. And I kind of feel in the last year, we've got a brand new house, our baby's a year next month, just got married, have had all of that going on. I kind of feel like I'm like, let's go. Do you know what I mean? Complacency is a killer. Do you know what I mean? Overthinking is a killer. Your standards should be non-negotiable. should be absolutely non-negotiable. Showing up is non-negotiable. Getting up is non-negotiable. Training is non-negotiable. Working on you is non-negotiable. This has to be a personal contract between you versus life. And if you allow life to win with that weak mentality, with that I don't know where I'm going, or that excuse mentality, and you don't take responsibility, you are going to live a very difficult, hard life. It is hard to show up. But when you start getting used to that journey and you condition yourself with that journey, it becomes a lot easier. It becomes a lot clearer. The standard raises. Your status goes up in terms of the way that you see yourself. And that self-respect that you have for yourself, you never back down from it. You never let it down, and you never let you down. Do you know what I mean? This won't sit well for snowflakes. What's the alternative, guys? Like, literally, what is that alternative? You know what I'm saying? The alternative is to stay in that groundhog, unhappy, frustrated state. Or you can go through some hardship and figure out what you're made of and build some character along the way. You know what I'm saying? It's now or never. That's what I'm saying. Have an amazing day. I appreciate you all. Can we jump on our 5-day challenge? I've got some new things lined up for this one, and I am definitely fired up to deliver. I really feel like I've really been able to unload a weight after the wedding. Like, we've done everything. I'm now ready to like go all in. I've got the energy and I'm fired up to take things to the next level as well. And I am obsessive and I am a perfect mentality, and I'm going to stay like that because it's exactly what keeps me on my toes. Let's go.